The principal share with a group of graduation candidates as they prepare to embark on their post-secondary career in the waning days and weeks of a global pandemic that has literally impacted every facet of your lives for the last 15 months. What advice could I possibly give you as some parting wisdom as you prepare to leave the four walls of this high school? Do I speak about resilience, a word you have often heard this year? Do I speak about what many people have often called the lost year, and why I feel that taking a deficit viewpoint such as this is not only disingenuous, but also flat out wrong? After the last 15 months, in a world of swirling regulations, guidelines, and at times utter insanity, all I can say is I have absolutely no idea what to say to you today. And a year and a half ago, that would have been a very uncomfortable thing to admit. However, there is something that I have learned to be comfortable with recently. And that's the idea of not knowing something and recognizing the power that lies within that concept, because it opens one's mind and it assumes a growth mindset as opposed to a deficit mindset. Please allow me to share a story with you that I learned recently that gives an example of what I'm speaking about. In the blazing heat of August 1949, there were a group of tremendously brave young men who were dropped from the Montana sky. They were not professional skydivers or thrill seekers, but rather a group of smoke jumpers, elite wildland firefighters who were attempting to battle a blaze at the base of Man Gulch. The foreman of the group was a man by the name Wagner Dodge. He led his men towards the fire, requiring a tough hike down rocky terrain of more than a quarter mile. When they arrived, they saw that the fire was now shooting flames 30 to 40 feet in the air and moving directly at them at a pace that would cover the length of 2 football fields in less than 1 minute. By 5:45 p.m., it became evident that they were not going to be able to contain the fire, and the retreat order was given. These men now transitioned from fight to flight. This meant running uphill over a steep incline through knee-high grass, carrying axes, saws, and 30 pounds of equipment. Over the next 8 minutes, they managed to retreat to approximately 200 yards from the top of the ridge and their eventual safety. However, it was looking bleaker and bleaker. The fire was advancing far too rapidly to outrun it. It was at that point that Wagner Dodge stopped, bent over, and took out a matchbook. He lit the matches and threw them in the surrounding grass. Needless to say, the remaining crew was baffled by his actions, and 12 of them continued to run towards the ridge. What they did not know was that Dodge was devising a survival strategy. He built what was called an escape fire. By burning the grass ahead of the fire, he was hoping to remove the fuel for the advancing flames. He doused his handkerchief in water from his canteen, covered his face with it, and lay face down in the charred ground as fire swirled around him. He ended up surviving on the smallest amount of oxygen lying close to the ground. In the end, he was one of only 3 of the 15 smoke jumpers to survive that tragedy. The other 2 men were able to make it to the ridge. While one may assume that those 2 men survived due to their physical fitness, Dodge survived due to his mental fitness. Now, please do not confuse mental fitness with intelligence. While it is true that the smarter you are, the more problems you can solve, Dodge proved with his survival fire that the ability to rethink a situation and unlearn what you've been taught is sometimes more important than amassing intelligence. Do not get too comfortable knowing what you know. Do not rest on your laurels and hang on your beliefs instead of grappling with new ones. We do this all the time. When your clothes are out of style, you refresh your wardrobe. When your kitchen is no longer in style, it becomes outdated, you update your kitchen. However, when it comes to our opinions and our knowledge, we seize up and freeze. Isn't it ironic that some people feel totally comfortable mocking somebody, perhaps for using outdated technology, yet many of the opinions we use in arguments are older than that technology? Don't rest with what makes you feel good, but rather seek ideas that will make you think hard. Wagner Dodge survived because of his ability to rethink the situation he was presented with. His fellow smoke jumpers did not follow his lead because they clung to their knowledge, which suggested he was absolutely crazy for lighting a fire in the middle of a wildfire. Who can blame them? An escape fire was something that had never been done, and it was not part of their training. It was 100% improvisation. Our ways of thinking and our knowledge can weigh us down. And and we don't bother to question until it's too late. This was evident in the Man Gulch disaster, because it was actually a fire that did not need to be fought. It was in a remote area, and there was no threat to property or human life. However, the smoke jumpers were following a protocol and a procedure that was devised 100 years earlier. And it would not be until 30 years after this disaster that the United States Forest Service would amend their procedures regarding whether or not all fires in the wild should be extinguished. As you approach the end of your journey here at Northport High School, I implore you to set yourself free of opinions and knowledge that do not serve you well. Seek to understand others and anchor yourself in flexibility as opposed to consistency in the ways things have always been done. Learn to rethink. It will help you generate new situations, new solutions to old problems, and it will help you evaluate old solutions when presented with new problems. And it is my hope that it will lead you down a path to learning more from the people around you and living a more rewarding life. When you are able to do that, you will feel like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, when she steps into a world of color out of the monochrome. Once you see those vivid colors, you will not want to return to the boredom of the monochromatic world of what you previously knew. Do not fall into a default mode of regress instead of progress for the sake of being comfortable. These are your first steps today, commencement, which means beginning. The journey cannot end because the mission has been accomplished. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos signs his annual letter to his shareholders with the same cryptic message every year. It remains day one. After 4 years of doing this, he finally elaborated why. He explained that day two would be stasis, followed by irrelevance and excruciatingly painful decline. Therefore, it must always remain day one. Seems like an appropriate message to end on. As you prepare to leave us here, let today remain day one, and every day after remain day one as well. As we have moved through the last 4 years together, I hope your dreams have been realized and have come alive. As you leave us, I charge you to find problems that need to be solved, rethink their solutions, and allow pursuit to help shape you as you mature. Remember, long-term satisfaction comes from solving problems and serving people, implementing lots of hard work, often with delayed gratification, and above all, sacrifice. Do not be afraid to embrace what you do not know, but rather recognize the power that lies within that paradigm. If there's anything that we have learned over the last 15 months, it's that flexibility is underrated. Graduation candidates, you have been a class of doers. You are the activists of the future, and I believe that your shared experiences here at Northport High School have afforded you the opportunity to build a solid foundation and have prepared you for whatever life will throw your way. Every door is open to you now. Your memory of your times here will echo in your minds and your hearts for the rest of your lives. You have been integral members of the student body at Northport High School, and the impact that you have made as a class has enabled our school to further its reputation as a prominent educational institution that promotes excellence in all areas of study and performance and produces accomplished individuals who are committed, civic-minded humanitarians of fine character and passionate spirit. 4 years ago, you entered here as young, curious children, but you leave here today as mature, confident young men and women. We have all had the honor of witnessing your growth academically, emotionally, and socially, and we stand here today in awe of your accomplishments and the fine individuals that you have become. Through all that you have accomplished during your high school years, you have contributed greatly to the learning community that is Northport High School. You have left a legacy for the underclassmen to follow. There's a very strong bond that unites you as having grown together as a class while celebrating wonderful achievements and events, as well as dealing with some of the most challenging circumstances any student could deal with. As a class, you have distinguished yourself through academic excellence, athletic achievements, so close at the Battle of Classes last year, Griffin, accomplishments in art and music, and through countless acts of service to the school and the greater community at large. Throughout your years here at Northport High School, you have challenged the boundaries of excellence and have consistently succeeded in raising the bar for yourselves, other students who will follow in your footsteps, and the underclassmen coming up through the system. Your amazing energy and spirit will be greatly missed here at Northport High School. I thank you for your contributions to our great school community, and I stand here today to say congratulations on all of your outstanding accomplishments, class of 2021.